Hey there, gun nuts, it's Ferrari Steve, and today I'm going to walk you through replacing the grips on a Sig Sauer P220. Now this is my personal P220 that I've got here. It was a certified pre-owned from Sig, meaning they got it and back from some, on some trade-in program, and probably put these grips on it, which are later model than this gun would have been issued with. It kind of bums me out, but only because I kind of wanted it for collectible purposes. I'm going to swap these grips out anyway, and one of my favorites is the Hogue. However, if you are using a different style grip, obviously it's going to be very similar to what I'm doing in the video. Hogue makes two variants of their P220 grips. They make a lot of grips for a lot of guns, but you can get them with the finger grooves or without. I kind of like the finger grooves, and so that's what I'm going with. Before we go any further though, let's eject the magazine, do a quick safety check, lock it open, visually and manually inspect, and the gun is clear. Now, well, let's take the old grips off first. On a P220, as with the other kind of P226 variants, you got to be careful with these screws. They may be Loctited in because you can't over-tighten them. If you over-tighten the screws on this grip, you're going to have trouble getting the magazine in and out. Let's remember that when we put the new grips on, right? But for removing the old screws, you may have to break it free of some Loctite. Mine are not in there that tight, and so removing it isn't going to be that big of a deal. All you'll need is a flathead screwdriver to remove the flathead screws. However, be careful taking them out because there's going to be this little lock washer as part of what comes out, and you're not going to want to lose that. Now, depending on the grips that you're getting, and depending on the age of your gun and what screws are in there already, there are three that I know of, different sizes. I'll just lift that out. 3 different sizes of screws that work with the P220, 229, 226, all that. So if you get it all back together with your new grips and you don't like how the screws sit, they're either in too far or sticking out too far, you can go online, go on Amazon. Hogue makes a set of hex heads that work pretty nice. Some people like that look better. And Sig will sell you the right one for your application if you just tell them what you're doing. So I'm going to put this plastic one aside, flip it over, take the other side off. Be really careful not to scratch those screws because I'm going to reuse these same ones with this Hogue grip. There we go. I got all 4 out and the little lock washers. And you'll notice the old grips are just plastic and 2 separate pieces, right? Whereas the new Hogue grip that I'm using is a single piece of rubber because those finger grooves, right, for getting a nice grip, are right there. So it just kind of butterflies open. So the only tricky part about getting these grips on, and it's always kind of cool to see the internal workings of your gun, huh? The only tricky part is getting it up and under the slide lock and the decocker and getting around the magazine release. So that might just require a little bit of wiggling until you get it in there. Looks like I got lucky. So the other side should just close around the back. And then look through there and kind of press the grip and slide it and wiggle it until you can see all the way through and those holes look lined up. You don't want to be off center because when you put the screws in, you got a really good chance at stripping those out, and you don't want to strip that out, right? You've got to do it right every time. You do it wrong one time and you're going to strip those out. We'll talk about how the grip hangs down a little lower here than the stock grips once we get it all back together. But anyway, it looks like I've kind of got it. I think we're good. It looks like stuff's working. So let's tighten it down. Again, be very careful. Don't strip these out, and do not over tighten these screws. So as you're going, just go very, very gently. If you get any resistance beyond just normal threading, you need to stop. You do not want to strip it. And just go until it just... Oh, now this is... Okay, good. I did something wrong, which is good because it's very easy to do it wrong. I'm not even biting the screws yet. This is a thicker grip. Or I'm not biting the threads, I mean with the screw. This is a thicker grip. So sometimes you've got to really press this down. And again, you don't want to force it. I'm pressing down on the grip. I'm not going to press down too hard on the screw. I'm just enough, there we go, to get it to bite. And I can feel it biting. And then I'm only going to go right until right there. Just In fact, I may have over-tightened. I'm going to back it off a little bit. You do not want to over-tighten these. You're going to have trouble with your magazine. That's why most people who replace the grips on here, and I'll probably do it after this video, will generally use a little bit of Loctite on these screws and just get it right there. Right where it starts to bite is where you want to stop. Flip it over. Go with the other ones. Maybe I'll stick them both in. And again, I'm going to push down on the grip. Don't push too hard on this screw. You just want to turn it with very little pressure until you feel it start to bite. And then once it just snugs up, stop. Do not go any further. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's really important. You do not want to create magazine ejection issues for yourself by over-tightening. So it feels real nice. Feels like it should. Check the functionality. Make sure that your decocker works. Make sure this isn't getting in the way of your slide operation, which it's not. Make sure that you can still reach the magazine release. Which brings us to a really important part. You'll notice that the Hogue grip extends down a little bit from the magazine well. A lot of times this will cause ejection issues. Let's see. No. Well, I actually cheated a little bit and I worked the bottom of these before I put it on because I knew that was going to be an issue. If you do this modification and you go like this and this doesn't pop out and hangs on here, you've either over-tightened these screws, but because you watched this video you probably didn't, but what's probably happening is the rubber here is just holding onto this. Just sit there, force it out, eject it a few dozen times. It will probably fix the issue. Some guys will talk about taking a Dremel in there, taking some sandpaper. I've never had to do that. That might fix it. In fact, it probably will fix it. But I found that just like with a... Oh, I'm getting a little bit of gravity there. So I think I've over-tightened those screws. Let's put my own rule. Let's just loosen them up a little bit, a little quarter turn, and see if that affects that magazine stickiness. Yep, it does. So again, do not over-tighten those screws. Really easy to do even when you're looking to not do it. And I recommend using some Loctite Blue and just getting it right there. And that way you'll make sure that your grips aren't going to come off. I personally like the stock screws, the look of those, and they feel just right there. They're flush enough that it's not going to stick up and bother me when I'm trying to get, a nice grip on this for firing. So again, that is how you swap out your stock grips. And what I always do is put them in the old box. That way I can tell what they are. Obviously, these say P220 on them, so kind of a giveaway as to which gun these are for. But I like to put my old pieces, the OEM pieces, in the aftermarket box. When I put them away, it makes it easier to find. So anyway, that is how you swap out the grips on a Sig Sauer P220. Very similar to doing the same on a P226 or a P229 or any other of this family of Sig Sauer guns. I actually have another set of grips here that I'm going to put on my 226 Mark 25 because I really like these Hogue grips. Anyway, this is Ferrari Steve thanking you for watching, reminding you that a dirty gun is a happy gun. Get out there, use them, train yourself, clean your gun, take good care of it, and make sure that the first time you have to use your gun is not the first time you have used your gun. Stay safe out there.